welcome. We're here in
Hello.
We're here in week 3 discussing 7 behaviors that are destructive to a marriage. Certainly, this is a week where we will be highlighting another behavior, not necessarily in order of importance or intensity, but yet they're all significant things that we know are very destructive to a relationship.
Now, before you all came on, we was going back and forth. Well, she would say distrust, or we say lie, or distrust, or deceive, or whatever.
Distortion.
Not telling all of the truth. All of that is a part of lies and distrust. You know, if I was to go to a financial institution, if I take my $1 million, which you have right away, and I have to put it in a financial institution, and the financial institution said, well, you know what, Mr. Steele, we're gonna back every dollar you put in. But then all of a sudden something happened, and there's a glitch or something out of ordinary happened. And then they tell me, well, you know what, Steve, we could only cover $800,000. But your contract said that you covered every dollar. That's a form of distrust. Not only is it a form of distrust, it's a form of distrust in my investment, what I invested.
So it's a form of dishonesty, not being truthful, not being honest, not being transparent. And we understand that the bedrock of a marriage is established on trust.
Yes.
Without trust in another pillar, which is called commitment, we realize that the institution is not secured. We realize that the institution is fragile, it has been compromised, and it is very vulnerable to its existence.
Now we tell you all each and every time, look, we have not been the perfect couple. Have you been?
No.
Okay. But we've had all these, all 7 that we're going to cover, it has been in our marriage. And the key is learning how to overcome it.
Absolutely. So when trust has been broken, you're right, we have to be very intentional about rebuilding in a way to re-secure the relationship. And we understand that's it's not lighthearted, it's no small matter, it takes work. First of all, it takes a willingness to acknowledge your wrongdoing.
That's it. You know what? Yeah, I messed up. You have to own up to it. That's the key factor right there. You know what? I messed up, I dropped the ball. Yeah. First thing is own it.
Own it up to it. Because what dishonesty does, you are saying to your partner that you cannot rely on me. You cannot put your weight on me. You cannot depend on me. In the areas in which we know where this is so necessary, because again, in light days and days where everything is flowing well, and days where there's, happiness and joy and marital bliss, those things are pretty much easy to navigate through. But let me tell you, every marriage will be tested. We go through many seasons, and you still will want your partner to show up. You will want the answers to still be, yes, I will be there for you regardless of whatever is going on. But when we fail to show up, when we fail to admit that, I'm not being honest with you about a matter, when we fail to communicate honestly our feelings, when we fail to communicate the intentionalities of what's going on in our heart, when we turned away, they are all actions that has compromised trust.
So you have to own up to it. And secondly, you have to forgive yourself. You cannot walk around in condemnation. You cannot keep walking around in hurt and shame and discontent. You have to forgive yourself. And you have to ask God to forgive you.
Yeah, forgiveness of self is crucial. If you don't forgive yourself, it's going to be very difficult to prove to your mate or show up in a way that's going to help you to rebuild the broken walls.
Yeah.
Because if you're walking around with self-condemnation all the time, your mate is looking at you, and what you are suggesting that you still can't trust me to even do the work of repairing.
And you know what? After you messed up, after you slipped up, you have to give your spouse time to process it, themselves and to hear you out so that they can start forgiving you.
Absolutely. So there's many ways that trust can be broken, but again, it really can be broken very instantaneously, but we understand that it does start with the heart, but we also realize that it takes time to rebuild trust. So you do have to give one another the space necessary for the work to be done. So much grace is needed, much intentionality is needed. This is an area where if you do the work, not only will your marriage come forth differently, you will be coming forth differently because maturity is taking place. It requires you to go inwardly to ask yourself some very difficult questions. So this is not an area where you're looking out and blaming your spouse, but it's one where you have to ask yourself and to be honest with yourself as to why is it that you made the decision to do the things that you did, to hide from your spouse, to turn away from your spouse, or even turn against your spouse.
So, this is our part of our presentation, and we ask you, what is your takeaway? If you have a great takeaway and you want to comment on it, type it in the section below.
Absolutely. So let us know, instead of us letting you know
Hey,
what our takeaway is.
Okay.
We want to hear your takeaway.
Aha. Well, you know what? I just gotta spit mine. All right. Forgiving yourself, not walking around in condemnation, asking God to forgive you, and giving your spouse time and have the patience to overcome distrust.
That's good. So because you've done one, I'll say this. All marriages are asking the same question. We will want a marriage that can answer the question, yes, this marriage is strong enough to deal with moments that are difficult. So we can be open and honest with each other regardless of the situation.
So when there's distrust, don't throw the baby out with the dishwater. Hang in there. I'm Marvin.
And I'm Lila.
Bye-bye. See you all next week.